Hey guys, welcome. If we haven't met, I'm Mayer Cunningham, Special Education Boss, training everyone that sits at the 504 IEP table to navigate and negotiate successful student outcomes.
Right now we have 73 new comments, reading them as fast and as furiously as we possibly can. And some of the comments. Intentioned but poor execution, just like HIPAA. That one kind of made me chuckle.
That's funny.
And someone else said, so glad my son's sped teacher attends training annually on top of the training for specific to a student. I wish everyone had your training.
They can get my training. Everyone can get my training now for a tiny little investment of $28. If you love somebody in special education, get them the book. This will be the most important gift that you give this year. It just will, because people don't know. I used to think when I first got in special education that they all knew what to do and they were choosing not to do it. They don't. They don't know. They don't know. And they don't know that they don't know. But they could know. You could know now. TheEpicIEP.com. Go to any book fulfillment center, get it. Get one for you, get one for your ex-husband, your ex-wife, the one that you wish was your ex-wife. Yeah.
Okay, here we go. How can I get in contact with someone from the OCR regarding a pending case at San Angelo ISD?
You can go to ed.gov and you can put in that number. If you've already sent an email, if you already had a case that was open through OCR, send an email to the federal attorney that was assigned to your case. You'll get an email back that will give you a new email address. I just had to do that with one of my cases in Kansas City.
School has denied a one-on-one request for my son because he doesn't have aggressive behaviors. Thoughts?
So I'm not a fan of a one-on-one. I am never going to be a fan of one-on-ones for students. However, there are certain exceptions and times for a period of time that's appropriate. But another person doesn't teach a child a strategy, right? So when we have staff members working with kids with disabilities above the general ed curriculum, what is the purpose? What is the expectation? What is the goal? And so when I see people get a para because their child runs, there won't be a para with them when there's 25. So while we have that para support, right, then let's be teaching a skill or a strategy. And maybe we sometimes have to have a conversation about, is the setting the right setting, right? There are kiddos that are not currently, based upon the acuity of their disability, going to be successful in general ed. And that's fine, right? But every setting is not the right setting for every kiddo. And we just have to soberly look at the student's current needs.
Thank you, Christy. The question that says, what are your thoughts on the ED, and then TPA for special education? Christy said it is a live portfolio.
What's a live portfolio? What does that mean? There's somebody that's online 24 hours a day, like the Truman Show, like a Jerry Lewis telethon. I could just call in. You mean like is it teaching? Is it modules? Tell us more. Tell us more. Tell us more.
Tell me more. Tell me more.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. We need to go get the preceptor. Okay. Let's see. I have a meeting tomorrow. What are some strategies and recommendations you can give me?
Same thing I said earlier. Write everything down today.
And when you have it written down, like Karen says, don't waffle or waver.
Yeah. Say it all. Say it all.
My son qualified for math and OHI. He's being supported already in reading, and they're trying to take it away, saying he's not qualified anymore. What do I do?
An eligibility doesn't determine the type of support you need. An eligibility opens the door for services. So the law says, Andrew F., which I'm sure all of, which was a Supreme Court decision, March 22nd, 2017. And the new two-part obligation for FAPE, a free appropriate public education, is one, did the district meet their obligations based upon the SEA, the State Education Agency, procedurally, right? Did they meet their procedural obligation? Number two, did they write an IEP appropriate to enable the student to make progress in light of their circumstances? Doesn't say anything about an eligibility. Did you write an IEP appropriate for the student to make progress in light of their circumstances? If part of their circumstances is a reading deficit, then we write a goal around it and we provide services and supports.
Somebody wants to know, is the book that you're talking about the book in back of you?
So the book that I'm talking about is the book that I wrote, the Epic IEP. So go get that on Amazon or wherever you buy books. Come back to the epicip.com, put your information in. We've been talking about the federal law, which you can get at Special Education Academy. We have it on our bookshelf. And then we've also been talking about the DSM-5 criteria, which is the diagnostic manual of mental disorders, which will give you a lot of really good language and characteristics around kiddos that have neurological differences.
So I was asked what I wanted for my birthday and for Christmas. So what I told everyone is, here is my bookshelf. It's not as extensive as yours. That goes up to 14-foot ceilings, which is amazing. But I told them, go to Karen, the great KMC's bookshelf on the website, and whatever I don't have,
get it.
Buy it.
Yeah, go to Special Education Academy. We have a bookshelf. Those are all books that, for anybody that is a partner of mine or anybody in the mastermind, those are all great academic books that I want them to use, whether it's the Contemporary Intellectual Assessment book, whether it is the Special Education Law book, whether it is the Intellectual Disabilities Association book, whether it is the Special Educator's Comprehensive Guide to 301 Diagnostic Test. So these are things that we use every day to serve kiddos.
What should I, as the teacher, be like in an ARD?
What should you be like?
Yes.
An information portal. You should have information on the student when they are in your class, their needs, their strengths, and how their disability impacts them across settings. So you should also have your information written down.
When is the second book coming out?
So the workbook comes out in February. There's a workbook to go with it because I know all the teachers are like, we want a workbook. So there'll be a workbook with it. And then people are already asking for other books. But let me just get this book born first, and then we will go from there.
Absolutely. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take that workbook and I'm going to take it apart and I'm going to laminate every single page, because then you can write on it and you take your little snapshot and put it into your kid's file, and then you have it again and again.
Is it state law that every teacher is addicted to laminating?
Oh, yes.
Do you guys all laminating? Are you considering an audio book of the Epic IEP? Yes. Just got that contract Friday. So I am doing an audio book, because who doesn't want to hear my nice, soothing voice late at night? Yeah, so I always get an audio book and a book together. That just doubles acquisition of learning. I think my audio book, though, is going to be a little bit like Gary V. I'll be reading the audio book and then I'll go, listen, I'm going off script. So anyway, last week, I feel like my audio book will be like twice as long. But yes, that will be available in February as well. Oh, somebody said, yes, as a dyslexic, we want an audio book. It is coming, and it'll be a lot of audio. You'll probably have to slow it down. The guy at the studios, you're going to have to talk slower on your audiobook. I'm like, no, I am not. They are going to have to listen faster. Yeah. So it's so funny when I do presentations or I'm training, people will say, can you talk slower? And I immediately talk faster. I don't know how to talk slower. I do know how to talk slower in an IEP meeting when somebody has lost their mind. That's not good when I'm talking slower in a meeting. That means somebody's about to get it.
Yes. My husband said, what are you doing? I'm like, I have got to get my cup in place. I have to put on my seatbelt, because when I'm listening to you in the car, oh my goodness, you got to be ready, because and if you accidentally put you on double speed, it's,
yeah.
Let's see. How severe does behavior have to be removed from a self-contained first grade?
How severe does it have to be? There's no learning. There's no learning. And I think that we wait for kids to mature or to stop. If it's a characteristic of a disability, neither one of those things are going to occur, so we need to intervene. But every child, every adult, everybody should be able to be in an environment where they can learn. And students that have an educational impact, that their behavior impacts their ability to learn and the learning of others, then we have to very soberly get back to the table and discuss a continuum of placements. And we have continuums of placements for kiddos.
I was thinking of asking for a 4-to-1 ratio because my daughter has issues with focus and concentration. Should I not?
A 4-to-1 ratio, that would be 4 adults to your 1 daughter.
I think it would be 1 adult to 4.
Yeah, ratio doesn't necessarily change an educational need.
I'm sorry. I was incorrect. I was thinking of asking for a 1-to-1.
Oh, a 1-to-1 doesn't change your ability to focus, right? So you have to ask yourself, why do I want the 1-to-1? Because what you're often doing with a 1-to-1 is you're setting up a classroom within a classroom, which is not inclusion. It's not inclusion, right? So what is the deficit? What's the skill that I need to teach? What is the ratio that can happen? What is the deficit? What is the skill that I need to teach? And what's the ratio for that to happen?
Okay. Oh, hit the wrong button. Do districts ever face repercussions if an intern special education teacher is assigned to districts and regression begins?
Repercussions? I don't know that repercussions happen. Hopefully if we're doing something in a school district that's not working, we pivot, right?
We do. And it is the top of the hour, ma'am. Are you going to continue?
I am.
Okay. All right.
So I am going to miss you terribly, Cindy.
Thank you.
She's leaving me, but I do have some mail-in questions. When I say mail-in, they emailed in. But we love you, Cindy. Thank you for joining us. Have fun tonight, but not too much fun. But I'm going to answer some questions that you guys have sent in. And so if there's the questions that come in the bottom come in really quickly. The great thing about the TikTok is that we get to ask questions, but they give you so few characters. So at the bottom of your screen, I don't know which side it's on, a couple of things. If you need support, representation, somebody to do a state filing, a records review, just email us. We have a whole team of people at advocate@specialeducationacademy.com. And if you have a longer question, you can put it in there, and we certainly try to print them out and read them as much as we can during the week. We have almost 1 million followers online, so I would love to tell you that we answer every question. We don't have that capacity, but we certainly are going to try to get as many answered for you guys as possible. So here's some of the questions that have been sent in. I want to be an advocate. How do I go about doing this? I'm a high school SPED teacher in Kentucky. Nobody trains better than we train. So we have weekly Special Education Academy. So that's every Monday night at 8 p.m. Central. I teach in live trainings. We do them in series. Right now we're finishing up a series every page of the IEP. Because every page of the IEP is a lot of pages. Most people don't know what's missing in their IEP. And then every Monday night when I'm done training, then we answer questions. And those are questions around the training or anything else. Thanks you guys for the gifts. And then we have the amazing 2-day intensive, which will wreck you for normal, fully preparing to be an advocate, however you sit at a table. And then a few times a year, we have a mastermind, and that is a very intense, very in-depth, a 6-week training on literally giving you all the process and protocols and intellectual property that we use to serve clients at the highest level. So if you're interested in any of that, just shoot us an email at advocate@specialeducationacademy.com, or they're also available at Special Education Academy to look at. The 2-day training is always on demand, so you can always go get that and then take that at your own pace. We do those live about 4 times a year. We don't have one scheduled live right now, but you can always take it on demand. All right, I have a question. My daughter is 19 and graduated in 2022. She's been in 504 since third grade. She's trying to do health science as a diagnostic sonogram program. She can make it through the classes okay, but she has trouble testing. Are there exceptions for her on testing to qualify for programs in college? So if you have a disability and you need accommodations in college, then your daughter would meet with the disability office and talk about the acuity of her disability, and they can sit down and talk about what accommodations might be successful for her. Okay? Question, Miss Karen. Upon meeting with an IEP team today, walked out of the meeting feeling like I could have done more for my child. I did not sign the IEP even though they stood over me, literally asking me to sign the IEP on the spot, showing me where to sign. Is there any way that you can help me with my child or assist me and let me know how much it would cost to get your very talented professional help? Thank you for your time, mother of 2 disabled children who generally lost and overwhelmed. Oh, that's very nice. So if you're wanting representation for us, from any of our team members, you just email us at advocate@specialeducationacademy.com and we will get you connected with one of our amazing team members. Okay. Next question, is there a special education team that makes a decision for an emergency special education placement before the child has been evaluated for education? For example, a 7.5-year-old student who's never attended school but has severe behaviors, nonverbal, and significant problems in class. So there's no such thing anywhere in IDEA or 504 that's an emergency. Certainly the district has the ability, the capacity to place your child and give them supports while we wait for the evaluation. The good news is still under Child Find, 300.111D, 300.111D, which is really why it's important that you guys go and get a copy of these. This is on our bookshelf at Special Education Academy. It's the law, and it's what I train on. Why do I train on the federal law? Because the federal law is a requirement in every single state, whether you're in the Kodiak Islands of Alaska or you're in Miami-Dade in Florida. And so every state is bound by federal law and requirements. And so we have to implement those. Under 300.111D, it says that the student doesn't even have to be listed by their disability as long as we know that the student has a disability and is in need of specially designed instruction, special education related services. So really the federal law, when you understand it, actually gave us more liberty than limitations. Often school districts will act, they're so limited by what they can do. And what are some of the phrases? We have a new initiative in our district. I'm like, initiatives aren't laws. We have a requirement. We have to. So when I'm in a meeting and somebody says that, I said, would you send me a copy of that have to? And I don't always get that. It's amazing. Okay? Question. When special education students receive transportation as part of their IEP, is that part of their minutes? Can special education wheelchair bound be taken to the bus 10 minutes prior to the general education population being released to the buses for safety for the wheelchair bound student and bus lift? So of course we consider the student as a whole. Probably if you're a student in a wheelchair, you move slower than the regular population. So I think that's appropriate. I don't know that you need 10 minutes. Maybe you just need 5 minutes. But special education transportation is a related service under IDEA. And so that would capture how many times a day you access special education transportation. But I think 5 minutes ahead of time would be adequate. And we could also capture that in the transportation supplement or the personal care supplement. Okay. My son is a freshman in a high school in Kentucky. There wasn't a transition meeting from 8th grade to freshman. He came home at the end of 8th grade with a schedule to be signed for high school. Instead, it stated that all students must take a foreign language for college requirement. We've signed the proposal schedule that also stated they have to do their best to accommodate. And our son took and passed Spanish 1 in 8th grade year and has fulfilled his high school requirement. So most states have a LOT requirement, language other than English. And the unfortunate thing about the foreign language requirement, which I don't really know in 2025 why we still have a foreign language requirement. I just really don't know. If that's going to be your jam, then let's do that. But we have 2 years of foreign language. There are not supports for a foreign language. I can't modify a foreign language. Obviously, you can have accommodations. So I feel like for a lot, I say a lot, almost all kids, it's a waste of time. They could have chosen something else, but for whatever reason, we still have in America where we have a foreign language requirement. So if your state only requires 1 year and you took it in 8th grade, that should be adequate for your high school requirements. All right. Our question is, my son is asking to be switched out of Spanish 2 because he's finding it really difficult. I emailed the school counselor who responded, we do not allow students to switch classes. I explained that we're 1 week into the semester and he's on a 504. Again, it was denied, and she stated, I contacted his teacher and she stated he's not asked for his accommodations and has turned in 2 assignments, is now passing. I explained that part of our son's disability is he's unable to ask for accommodations due to extreme anxiety, and what can I do to help my son? I stated it's unacceptable you will allow a student to possibly fail a class rather than accommodate a change in his schedule this early in the year. The school responded, when that happens, you can stay after school for tutoring. Wow, that's warm and fuzzy. Well, first of all, a student doesn't have to ask for their accommodations. You don't have to ask for your civil right of an accommodation as a disabled individual. That's the obligation, duty, and responsibility of the school, of the college, of the place where you work. So when I hear that teachers are like, oh, he didn't ask for his accommodations, good news. He doesn't have to ask for his accommodations. The obligation to deliver the accommodation is not the disabled student. So I would probably have a 504 meeting and discuss that with the team so that we're all on board with how we deliver accommodations with fidelity. Okay? And let's see, questions. I just started working as an inclusion teacher. Curious, do focus on their goals and objectives or help them complete their classwork? Good question. So we work on IEP goals. So we have an academic IEP goal. I would expect that 1 time a week, the special education teacher is working on that goal. So obviously that's a very small percentage of the week. If they have behavior goals, obviously there's an expectation that we implement those and work on those more often. But for academic goals, it should be a very short amount of time that we're working on acquisition of that skill identified in the IEP goal. Question, is it legal for my son to have change classes due to the fact that there was a bully in the class and the teacher and the administration would not stop it? My son is on an IEP and has autism. He's in junior in high school and was taking a construction trades class, but basically got bullied out of it. He enjoys the class and was learning helpful skills for him to have in job. But every time an incident happened, he was told to tell the teacher and stand next to the teacher. The issues continued. The teacher wouldn't do anything, and administration said he should change classes. I just want to see if it's a good move for the school. I feel like my son was punished for doing what was asked of him. According to his IEP, he needs accommodations in that class. I don't feel like he received them. This is a really good question, so let's talk about this. So when a student reports bullying, often the district will move the student that reported it, right? Because in the past when we've removed the bully, then that bully was gone, but maybe some of their friends would then respond on their behalf. And so while I don't love the outcome, I share with my clients that is a very real probability that that's going to happen. I've even had kids move from campuses because the bully was in so many of that student's classes, maybe even sports. I had a kiddo that was on track to receive a college offer for sports, but literally was moved to another campus. There's not a great way to resolve everything, but that almost always is what happens, is we move the student that is being bullied. Hopefully we're moving kiddos and we're intervening at the same time. Question, Texas. Is there a law about how many percentages of students can be in a class with one general ed teacher? For example, my 3rd period class has 17 students. 13 of them are on IEP. 13 on IEP. I'm struggling. I basically have to accommodate the whole class to make sure I'm in compliance. I'm not SPED certified. I just got invited to a future ARD meeting. I emailed back saying, I believe I got the invite by mistake. I do not have a student by that name. She responded, She's in a self-contained class, but we need to have a general ed teacher in the meeting. And this self-contained SPED teacher suggested inviting me. So we need a general ed teacher in an IEP meeting for a student with a disability, because every student is a general ed student. Some just receive special education services. So that would happen, and you may not have ever met the student. Your input is to talk about what is the probability of them going to general ed based upon their unique circumstances, and how could you support that. Back to you being in a class with, I work in a self-contained class. So if you're the teacher of record and you have set 14 students and one SPED para, there's just no way that you could implement everybody's IEP. There's no way that you could implement everybody's IEP and take data on it. There's no way that you could probably ever go to the bathroom or have lunch. So I would definitely reach out to leadership and say, we're running short on a set of hands to be able to fill these IEPs with fidelity. Question, we'll do a couple more questions. A student qualifies for speech services, OT, and PT. He has academic needs evidenced by MTSS. School is saying that he cannot receive resource services for math and reading because he only qualifies for speech. They did not test for autism. We plan on doing the additional testing. Can we do that? I thought if a student qualified under any category, that all access to all special education. Is there a specific law that states this help? So for students that are solely eligible for speech, the IEP goals and services have to solely be around speech. Make sure that you get a full evaluation to look at all areas of need. Special education evaluation tomorrow, anything that you recommend. So if the evaluation is tomorrow, I would just send my child fully ready for that evaluation. And then when you get that back, you can start to talk about your questions from the evaluators that completed it. Last question, and then we're going to take a break. So a school is losing a teacher for 14 self-contained children. The administration said to put all kids on homebound for 4 to 6 weeks. What? Put all kids on homebound? So homebound is solely on the direction of a medical professional, and we would only do that there. We don't pull kids out of school and manufacture homebound. So Christy said only 2. Yeah. We want to thank you guys for being here today. We've been here for 2 hours. This is so exciting. 2 hours and 4 outfits and 500 questions. I think that's amazing. Oh, so somebody said, I'm sorry, I'm confused. It's a meeting. Should the child attend? So nobody's going to like this, which is, it's fine. I don't have children come to IEP meetings. I don't. I find that they're manipulated. I find that if they stand up for themselves, that can often be problematic, or I find it to be contrived. And what I mean by that is whatever data I need to get from the disabled individual, we're going to get that in the transition supplement, talking to them prior, finding out their interests and preferences. I don't know that I could ever say in 29 years it's been good in my purview of having a child with a disability sit in an IEP meeting with a bunch of adults. I think that time's better spent for them to be in class learning. I always hear about kids with disabilities have to learn to advocate for themselves. And I don't disagree with that. But often some not amazing things happen. So by law, they have to start inviting the student. They're required to invite them to their annual IEP meeting. At the year transition becomes a requirement in your state. So transition was added to the reenactment of IDEA in 2004. And what that meant was we were just graduating kids with disabilities and going by. We didn't really have a plan for them. And so it became an obligation, duty, and responsibility that we write a transition supplement with a set of coordinated activities. Let me know if you've ever seen that set of coordinated activities for the student to be successful post-secondary with gainful employment, independent living, and further education. I do want the child's input, which is one of the reasons that I meet with the kids that I advocate for. But it doesn't matter. When you're 14, 15, 16 years old, you are outmanned in a room full of adults. You are. You just are. So if there's something that we need from that student, I will get the information from them. The transition person can get the information from them. The case manager. but I have never seen a meaningful benefit in a disabled child sitting in a room with adults. Additionally, sometimes it's hard for adults to be in a successful IEP meeting. I don't find a need to bring a child into an IEP meeting, a legal meeting where we have procedural and substantive requirements under federal law. Somebody said it's a DODEA school. Yep. So whatever kind of school it is, the same obligations. I have issues with teachers. Should I bring that up? So when you have concerns, you want to bring up concerns, right? And so when you're going to bring up a concern with a child, that your child's teacher, I would try to do it in the way that's the most efficient, first reaching out to her or him. If that's not successful, then I would reach out to the principal. I don't know if just saying in the meeting, I have concerns with you. One of the things that we train on every Monday night is how to say it efficiently. Because my job is to talk about uncomfortable truths in a way that people keep listening. And that's a skill that you have to develop. And the point of the meeting is to make sure that the IEP is being implemented with fidelity. And some of those meetings need to happen outside of that meeting and then maybe come back to that meeting. Ashley, so you have data to support that. I might at the beginning of the meeting say, I do all obviously my IEP meetings remotely. I might say, could the principal and I jump out into a breakout room if you're virtual, if you're in person, could I take a few minutes and share some of my concerns with the principal first before we start the meeting? That might be a better way to get the outcome that you're looking for. Love you guys. Everybody got the book, The Epic IEP, so that you can be epic at your next IEP meeting. This is a powerful playbook that I wrote for parents, educators, and advocates navigating the special education system. It's the exact same 7 frameworks that I use and have used for 100 million years, and I'm so glad that you guys are going to have it. It's a book of hope. It's a book of action, and you'll finally understand what are all the components of the IEP and how they are sewn together in a way that anybody can do it. And so we're super excited. So we love you guys. If you need something, let us know. Advocate at specialeducationacademy.com, and we'll see you guys in the next training.